Also, I'm going to touch a little bit on, everyone knows that it's been out there that the report on the so-called leaky counselor is out. Well, I was in contact with the 1st District Attorney, Mr. Ed Karkasinas, and he informs me that it stays confidential because it is sort of like an ongoing, it's closed at this point, but it's sort of like an ongoing investigation. If someone comes forward, they could reopen it. So at this point, I know it's frustrating. I know people want to know what's in it, but as a town council, we can't release it. The police chief can't release it. The town manager can't release it. So that's where it sits. It sits in confidentiality. And that's all I have to say.
83 Pinedale Street. It's about the issue you raised, the leaky counselor thing. I have several questions to ask you because this could generate into an apparent cover-up. What language did they use in the report to you? Have you seen one?
First of all, the report was given to, it was addressed to the Southbridge Police Chief, okay? Right. And we got copies of it, and we're not, it's confidential, so I'm not going to speak.
What citation in law authorizes that confidentiality?
The document is actually a document produced by the District Attorney's Office. So if you have any inquiries in regards to the document, I would request that you put those through to the District Attorney's Office.
I don't think it's necessary because it's in your venue now. Could I have a redacted copy?
He needs to make the request.
You're going to have to make a request to the town manager, a formal request.
I'm going to make a formal request now that I receive a redacted copy. Take the names out if you have to, and I would like to see a redacted copy, and I'll pay for it.
You can submit the request, and it will be forwarded to the District Attorney's Office.
You receive an email tomorrow.
Processing. That's fine.
I just want to comment that this, as Councilor Logan had said to you several weeks ago, will set a standard for the future. If you can hide behind a confidentiality screen, then there is no government here. You've got to change that. I don't believe that there is, in fact, in case in law that allows that. Maybe the chief could clarify that, but I would like to see the copy anyway, and we'll go forward there. Thank you.
Mr. Sotelli, I just want to say, I'm as frustrated as you are that it cannot be put out there. I called Mr. Karkasinas, and he told me straight up, it's got to stay confidential. So that's where it sits. My hands are tied as the chairman of the council. There's nothing more I can do. I can give you his number if you'd like to call him.
Sure.
I can forward that to you. I don't have it with me, but I do have it. Okay. I can call you with it and give you that number. You can talk to him. I think
you should be, more or less, from a political standpoint, doing something about it because it becomes a sort of a leaky gate thing. I don't think you want rumor and innuendo to continue. I think what you want to do is get this thing out public.
Personally, I believe it should be out public. Yeah. But that's not my call here.
Well, you're the head of government, I disagree with you.
I am the head of government, but the DA is in charge of that report. It was their report.
All right. I'll have to do what you can't do.
I will get you that number. You can call him. Town manager, effective August 19, 2011 through August 18, 2014. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Councilor McDonald.
Mr. Chairman, I just have, in reviewing the contract, because when we initially looked at this in subcommittee, this was as an amendment number 2 to the existing contract, which I didn't think was the appropriate way to address this. So the manager did go back and put it together, but I still see some things in it that have me concerned. In the first whereas, under that measure, it says an extended 3 years. I believe it should be an additional 3 years. Because we're going on with a new contract. The other thing is, when I look at just under item F on section 4, it says all other portions of this employment agreement as originally dated July 14, 2008 and amendment number 1 dated September 3, 2009 not listed above shall remain in full force and effect. When I take that statement in consideration with Section 4A, B, C, and D, it kind of gets a little, it can get a little tenuous as far as I see it. And the reason I say that is this. It's my understanding that items A, which says that the salary of $127,050 between up to August 18th, and then B is a 2% increase on that, and then the subsequent paragraphs have a 1.5% increase, a 1%, and a 1%. If the contract, if those percentages were included in the amendment to the very first contract, then when we extend and enter into this contract, this means this is a new set of those percentages as I interpret that, which means that it could be interpreted as saying we owe an additional 2% because we're entering into another contract. So I just wanted to make sure that we get that particular section of it clear, that it should be, those percentages should be on whatever the existing salary is now. We should be starting fresh. So I would put a question through you to the manager. In item A on section 4, the $127,050, is that your current salary, or is...
No, when I started in 2008, that was the salary that I started at.
Right.
And what, in the original contract, it actually had 3% and 3%. So all we've done in those A, B, and C is correct to reflect what actually happened in reality. So really, D, E, and F are what would happen moving forward. A, B, and C is just what's already transpired.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, if I may, because the way I see this is we already had the first contract and an amendment to that. What this is a new contract. So these numbers should be starting from where they are now and then going on forward to 2014, not be a restatement of the old contract, the original contract, because we're really entering into a new 3-year period contract.
Well, my original contract, it was a request of the council. I was going to have a separate contract. The current one that I have would go through to August 18th of this year. That one would expire, and then a new contract would kick in.
This one.
Right, and what I wanted to do, since we were going to consolidate the 2 amendments that I had proposed, we made a kind of a uniform one that covers the history of where we've been and then what we have going forward. So I don't, you know, I'm not going to ask for more money. I mean, it is what it is in terms of the first 3 years, but my original contract did need to be amended because I didn't get 3%, I got 2, and I got 1.5. So we just really updated that, and when we did amendment number 1, we actually updated the first year of that to reflect what I actually received. So it's really just notation purposes that those 3 years are in there.
Mr. Chairman, follow up. Okay, I understand that, but we have, even though we would execute this today, the actual pickup and starting point for this contract would be August 19th of 2011.
Correct.
Okay, and contracts can do that. I just did a contract in my job in that manner. The historical thing is the original contract and the amendment would be historical, but this should be a ground zero new set of numbers in those categories, because when this contract kicks in, that's when those numbers take effect. You don't have to cover ground you've already covered in the other contract, because that contract is not going to be in perpetuity. It's going to have a definitive end time, and this one has a definitive start time and a definitive end time. So this should be a fresh new set of numbers starting from the point of where you're going to be on August 19th, 2011 onward to August 18th of 2014. Thank you.
You all set? I'm all set. Council McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What's confusing for me is because when I look at this and I try to get what the final number we're going to be at by the time we get to the last year of this contract, based on the original number of 127,050, I can't really, it looks at it, it's a 6.5% pay raise, but based on that bottom number, I come up with 135,308, but I really can't determine what the true number is because it's not worded right. So what I'd like to do, I don't want to belabor this too much, but I really think it's right that because we are getting into a contract, that we get it right for the town manager's sake, we get it right for the town's sake, that I'd make a motion, we just, if we could put this off until the next town council meeting to just clean up this to get it done right. I'd put that in the motion.
So you want to postpone this till the next meeting? So are we going to send this back to general government? Is that what you're requesting that?
Right. and to work with the manager and general government to get it right.
Mr. Chairman,
Excuse me, Mr. Town
Sorry.
Manager. Councilor Regis had
No,
something to say.
No, I completely disagree.
So you want to go forward with it as written?
We have sat on our hands for too long about this issue,
Okay.
my opinion, and we need to get, this is going to be done one way or another tonight. That's my feeling on this, my very strong feeling. Let's get this done now.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Logan?
When we have to ratify the town manager's contract 6 months prior to August 19th, is there going to be another town council meeting prior to that?
I believe it's February 18th.
February 18th.
February 18th,
So we'll have one more meeting before then?
correct?
And it seems like it would make sense rather than, since the vice chair's got questions, Councilor Regis had some questions, wouldn't it make sense just to schedule a general government subcommittee meeting as early as possible next week, meet with the town manager, get these issues resolved so we have a clean contract to vote on at the next meeting?
Councilor Regis? Sorry, gotta go with the
If the way the document is presented is an issue, can we at least vote on those? I don't even know if we can do this. Can we vote on the extension and the percentages and the dates, and then the presentation of such be addressed afterwards? Can we at least do that?
I don't want to vote on something that's piecemeal on this. I want to vote on the full thing. Councilor McDonald?
I was just going to say what you just said, so thank you.
Okay, so, without any other councilors, I'm going to let the town manager speak.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'm a little bit frustrated because originally I had a contract, I had an amendment, I put amendment number 2